If you are a smoker or a senior living in the United States, United Kingdom, Canada, or Australia, this is not just information. It's a wake-up call. Lung damage doesn't always show up until it's too late, and what you eat could literally be the reason you breathe easier or struggle for air. People ignore the power of food, but for aging lungs or smoke-damaged tissue, nutrition is not optional. It's survival. Garlic needs to be one of the first foods to talk about because what it does inside your lungs is incredibly important. This isn't just about flavoring food. This is about breaking down mucus, improving circulation inside the lungs, and reducing inflammation in the airways. Seniors in the United States who grew up smoking or were exposed to secondhand smoke need to understand that chronic inflammation is a ticking time bomb. When garlic enters the system, it releases a compound called allicin, which is known for its antibacterial, antifungal, and antiviral properties. It works almost like a natural antibiotic, but without the side effects. Many older Americans using garlic as a daily food ingredient have noticed a reduced need for inhalers or decongestants. It's even been studied for its role in slowing the progression of chronic bronchitis, something far too common among seniors in the United States who have smoked for decades. People in Canada and the UK with a history of smoking have seen mucus reduction after adding garlic to their diets, especially when taken raw or lightly cooked. Apples aren't just about keeping doctors away, they might also help you avoid oxygen tanks later in life. Packed with quercetin, a flavonoid that acts like a shield for your lung tissue, apples have been associated with improved lung function. In the United States, studies from major universities have linked apple consumption to slower lung function decline in former smokers. In fact, even among firefighters and first responders exposed to toxic air, those eating apples regularly had better oxygen capacity on pulmonary tests. Seniors often lose lung elasticity, but the antioxidants in apples may help preserve this. And it's not just a theory, it's something pulmonologists in Australia have begun recommending to patients suffering from early-stage COPD. Turmeric is not hype. It's a lung healer. The active ingredient, curcumin, is one of the most potent anti-inflammatory agents found in nature. What's more disturbing is how chronic lung inflammation becomes normalized in the United States healthcare system. People are put on steroid, inhalers, and left to depend on them forever. That's not a solution, it's dependency. But studies in both the United Kingdom and the United States show that curcumin reduces oxidative stress in lung tissue and can even suppress fibrotic activity, where lung tissue becomes stiff and scarred, cutting off oxygen flow. Former smokers in Canada suffering from shortness of breath and fatigue have reported improvement in symptoms after integrating turmeric supplements or turmeric powder in daily food. Seniors dealing with breathlessness, especially those who smoked in their youth, should not wait for symptoms to worsen. This is about acting before the damage becomes irreversible. Ginger is another must-have. It contains gingerol, which helps to relax smooth muscles in the airways and break down thick mucus. Many people from the United States using ginger tea or even raw ginger as part of their daily routine report fewer coughing fits and improved airflow. For seniors especially, who may already have decreased lung capacity, this can feel like a relief. Ginger acts as both a bronchodilator and an expectorant. In Canada, respiratory therapists have even started recommending ginger-based syrups for managing bronchial inflammation without needing chemical decongestants. Some older Australians who quit smoking late in life have said ginger helped reduce the tightness in their chest more effectively than over-the-counter medications. Cruciferous vegetables like broccoli, cauliflower, and Brussels sprouts should not be underestimated. They contain compounds that help the body detoxify harmful carcinogens, including benzene and acrolein, two toxic chemicals commonly found in cigarette smoke. Broccoli, in particular, activates NRF2, a protein that controls the antioxidant response inside lung cells. This is important because lungs under oxidative stress, like those of former smokers or the elderly, don't have the resources to fight back. People in the United States who smoked for over 30 years and switched to a heavy cruciferous vegetable diet showed improved lung scans and decreased symptoms of shortness of breath. Lung specialists in Canada are also using dietary interventions like this alongside traditional COPD therapies. It's not just about managing symptoms, it's about reversing cellular damage as much as possible. Beets and beet greens are oxygen powerhouses. They are high in nitrates, which help dilate blood vessels and improve oxygen flow throughout the body. For lungs that are stiff, scarred, or dealing with reduced capacity from years of smoking or just natural aging, this boost in oxygen flow can feel like breathing with new lungs. In fact, a study in the United States showed that beet juice helped former smokers improve endurance on treadmill tests. Even seniors with no history of smoking but declining lung function due to age benefited from beet supplementation. The nitric oxide production stimulated by beets improves alveolar function, the tiny air sacs in the lungs that take in oxygen. Seniors in Australia and the UK often experience shallow breathing, but adding beets into their diet has helped many reclaim a sense of vitality. Fatty fish like salmon, mackerel, and sardines are packed with omega-3 fatty acids. Omega-3s are vital for reducing systemic inflammation, including in the lungs. In the United States, millions suffer from asthma and COPD, and yet fish consumption remains shockingly low. Among elderly Americans, lung inflammation can be worsened by the standard American diet, which is rich in processed oils and trans fats. Replacing those with omega-3-rich foods has been shown to significantly reduce lung inflammation markers. In Canada, former smokers reported better breathing and energy levels after eating fatty fish 3 times a week. These results were echoed in small trials conducted in the United Kingdom. Seniors often feel tired not because of age, but because their lungs aren't delivering enough oxygen. Fixing inflammation at the root through diet is not optional. It's critical. Blueberries, often called a superfood, live up to the hype when it comes to lung protection. Packed with anthocyanins, they protect lung tissue from oxidative damage. Aging lungs are under constant attack from pollutants, smoke residue, and even household chemicals. Former smokers in the United States who consumed blueberries daily showed improved lung function over time, especially when combined with exercise. These compounds neutralize free radicals and slow down aging in lung cells. Seniors from Australia who added blueberries to their morning cereal or smoothies noted fewer days with wheezing or shortness of breath. The effects aren't instant, but they are consistent, and consistency is what damaged lungs need to repair. Nuts and seeds, especially almonds, walnuts, and flax seeds, are dense with nutrients your lungs need. They provide magnesium, vitamin E, selenium, and healthy fats, all of which play critical roles in lung health. In the United States, magnesium deficiency is one of the most overlooked contributors to lung constriction and poor breathing. This is especially true in elderly populations, where nutrient absorption declines. Magnesium helps relax the bronchial muscles and allows better airflow. Vitamin E, especially the tocotrienol form found in certain seeds, protects lung membranes from damage. Seniors in the United Kingdom and Canada who supplemented with mixed seeds experienced fewer respiratory infections and a reduction in dry coughing. Oranges and other citrus fruits do more than just boost your immune system. They're rich in vitamin C and bioflavonoids that support lung structure and prevent infection. In people with chronic lung issues, especially seniors in the United States with COPD, pneumonia risk increases during winter. That's because the mucus membranes in the lungs become more vulnerable. Vitamin C reinforces these barriers, reducing the chance of lung infections. Former smokers in Canada often rely on high-dose vitamin C protocols to recover from bronchial inflammation faster. In Australia, where wildfire smoke has become a serious problem, many older citizens are turning to citrus fruits to support respiratory health during smoky seasons. Water might not seem like a food, but it's essential and often ignored in discussions. About lung health. Lungs need to stay moist for mucus to be properly cleared out. Seniors often live in a state of mild dehydration, which thickens mucus and makes coughing ineffective. In the United States, healthcare workers report that elderly patients with respiratory issues often improve just by increasing fluid intake. Smokers and ex-smokers living in dry climates in Canada and Australia experience more coughing and lung irritation because of this. Staying hydrated isn't just for kidneys. Your lungs require it every single day. Spinach and other dark leafy greens provide folate, chlorophyll, and a range of other nutrients that support red blood cell function and oxygen delivery. Folate deficiency in the United States is common, especially among seniors relying on processed or convenience meals. Without enough folate, lungs struggle to get oxygen to tissues efficiently. That shortness of breath seniors feel when climbing stairs might not be old age. It might be nutritional deficiency. Spinach, kale, Swiss chard, these are more than salad ingredients. They are medicine for your lungs. Sweet potatoes deserve serious attention, especially among seniors and smokers in the United States who are dealing with chronic respiratory issues. They are incredibly rich in beta-carotene, a precursor to vitamin A, which is essential for repairing and regenerating epithelial tissue, the lining inside your lungs and airways. Smokers damage this lining daily, and without enough vitamin A, it becomes harder for the body to rebuild it. In the United States, many former smokers suffer from persistent cough, mucus buildup, and bronchial sensitivity because their airway lining is compromised. Sweet potatoes offer a powerful, bioavailable source of nutrients that can accelerate healing. In clinical observations across Canada and the United Kingdom, patients who included sweet potatoes in their diet multiple times per week saw measurable improvements in lung function and fewer upper respiratory tract infections. Seniors in Australia who had been on oxygen support for mild COPD reported better comfort breathing when sweet potatoes became a regular part of their meals, often roasted or baked. Pineapple is another food that many overlook, yet it contains bromelain, an enzyme with exceptional anti-inflammatory and mucolytic properties. For anyone who has smoked for years in the United States, dealing with thick, stubborn mucus is a daily struggle. Bromelain thins that mucus, making it easier to clear the lungs and reduce pressure on the airways. Studies out of Canadian research institutions have supported bromelain's ability to support lung health in COPD patients, and in the United Kingdom, this tropical fruit is now being looked at as a natural aid for post-viral lung inflammation recovery. Many seniors, especially in areas with heavy air pollution or history of respiratory illness, have found that pineapple juice, not canned, but fresh or minimally processed, helps relieve tightness in the chest and clears their breathing passages naturally. Smokers often don't realize that the constant chest congestion they feel is not permanent. Foods like pineapple can offer daily relief and long-term repair. Avocados should be a staple for anyone over 60 in the United States trying to maintain lung function. They are packed with glutathione, which plays a crucial role in detoxifying the lungs. Glutathione levels drop dramatically with age, and even more severely in people with a history of smoking. This leads to excessive oxidative damage and impaired lung elasticity. In the American healthcare system, glutathione deficiencies are rarely tested, yet they could explain why so many seniors struggle with fatigue, shallow breathing, and recurrent bronchitis. Avocados also offer healthy fats that support anti-inflammatory processes in the body. People in Canada and the UK who incorporated avocados regularly into their meals, either in salads, spreads, or smoothies, reported more energy and better exercise tolerance, often being able to walk longer without shortness of breath. Older adults in Australia, some living in senior communities with controlled diets, showed improved oxygen saturation levels when avocados were included weekly. Watermelon might seem like a summer treat, but it's actually a lung-supporting powerhouse. It contains high levels of lycopene, which has been associated with better lung capacity and reduced airway inflammation. In a clinical nutrition study conducted in the United States, older men and women who had smoked for more than 20 years were given lycopene-rich foods, and the results showed statistically significant improvement in peak lung flow and exhalation time. Lycopene acts as a scavenger for free radicals, which are especially harmful to lung cells. Seniors often deal with chronic oxidative stress, not just from their environment but from years of accumulated exposure to toxins, especially those who lived in cities with poor air quality or near industrial zones. Watermelon helps neutralize some of that damage, and its high water content also supports hydration, which is essential for respiratory health. In both Canada and Australia, lycopene-rich diets have been increasingly recommended by holistic respiratory therapists working with elderly patients recovering from smoking-related lung damage. Carrots are often considered a children's snack, but for adults over 60, they can be a lifeline. High in carotenoids and vitamin A, they help prevent the degradation of lung tissue that occurs naturally with age and much more aggressively in smokers. Carotenoids improve the immune response in lung tissue, which helps prevent pneumonia, a major cause of hospitalization in seniors across the United States. Respiratory therapists have long noted that seniors with poor diets often have weak cough reflexes and frequent infections. Carrots can strengthen lung defense mechanisms when consumed consistently, especially raw or lightly steamed. In the United Kingdom, community health initiatives have started adding carrot-based recipes to senior meal programs because of the measurable improvements in respiratory resilience. In Canada, smokers over 50 who added raw carrots and other orange vegetables into their diet saw improvement in their morning lung function tests and less wheezing. Australians often incorporate carrots in juices with ginger or turmeric to get maximum lung-supporting benefits. Tomatoes contain both vitamin C and lycopene, making them an ideal food for supporting respiratory health. Smokers damage their alveoli, the tiny sacs responsible for oxygen exchange, and lycopene helps reduce the inflammation and oxidative stress within those sacs. Seniors with emphysema in the United States have experienced a reduction in flare-ups and improved breathing patterns after including tomatoes regularly in their diet. In Canada and Australia, tomatoes are being studied for their protective role in people exposed to bushfire smoke or industrial air pollutants. Some seniors with asthma or allergic bronchitis have seen a decrease in nighttime coughing and better oxygen levels during sleep after eating cooked tomatoes, especially in stews or soups where the lycopene becomes more bioavailable. Cabbage, while often overlooked, contains glutamine and sulfur compounds that assist in detoxifying the lungs. In the United States, many seniors suffer from chronic exposure to indoor air pollutants, such as dust, mold, or cleaning chemicals. These toxins accumulate and can trigger a persistent inflammatory response in the lungs. Cabbage helps eliminate these toxins by supporting the liver and respiratory system in tandem. Fermented cabbage, such as sauerkraut, also promotes gut health, which has a direct effect on immune system functioning, including within the lungs. Seniors in Canada who added sauerkraut to their meals a few times a week reported fewer episodes of chest tightness during seasonal changes. People in the United Kingdom recovering from long-term smoking found that cabbage helped reduce mucus buildup and eased coughing fits, especially during cold weather. Pears are another incredible fruit for those trying to rebuild their lung capacity. They are high in flavonoids and dietary fiber, both of which support the lung's natural detoxification process. Flavonoids help stabilize cells in the lung lining and reduce hyperresponsiveness, a common issue in aging lungs and in those exposed to cigarette smoke. Pears are gentle on the stomach and don't cause reflux, which is important because acid reflux can worsen lung issues in seniors. In the United States, nutritionists working in retirement communities have recommended pears as a daily fruit option for their lung-soothing effects. Canadian seniors who suffer from dry coughing, especially At night, often find that pears help soothe the throat and airway linings. Australian lung specialists also point out the value of pears during recovery from respiratory infections, as they hydrate and nourish the body without irritating inflamed tissues. Onions, like garlic, are rich in quercetin, which has natural antihistamine and anti-inflammatory effects. Smoking damages the lung's ability to regulate inflammation, which is why so many smokers end up with diseases like chronic bronchitis or emphysema. Onions help break this cycle by reducing allergic-type responses in the lung tissues. In the United States, raw onions are being studied for their ability to reduce histamine release during airway irritation. Seniors who added onions, either cooked or raw, to meals several times a week had fewer episodes of wheezing and reported easier breathing during physical activity. In Canada, onions are often included in naturopathic respiratory detox programs for smokers. Australians who suffer from allergy-related asthma in combination with smoking damage find onions' effects particularly helpful during seasonal allergy peaks.